How's everyone? I hope everybody's doing well, blessed, and enjoying family. As always, muchas gracias to everyone for everyone's words, wishes, prayers, time, and love and support everyone shares with me. I highly appreciate every one of you. Also, if this is to your liking, do please like, share, subscribe, and hype the video to get the message out there a little further to see if it could reach someone that may need it. Well, everyone, getting right into what I want to touch on today. Today, I want to touch on something that, I see it like a perfect opportunity to show how politics truly work. It's a little bit out the realm that I usually talk about, right? It's not that old. The subject happened 2023, but it has pretty much been clear, at least when it comes to the squad or the feds or whatever, right? But there's no need to say someone told me, I talked to who, we touched on this. It's just my narrative, right? Anyways, we're going to talk about the murder of a Sureño in Kern Valley that happened 2023, and basically the removal midget from Riverside County. And I seen a lot of narratives, right, on what people think. I seen clips someone sent me on individuals on how they put their take based on the internet, which is again my respects, right? Me, everyone knows I don't do that internet stuff, right? But I wanted to start off with the Billy Gangster. This was exactly what I always talk about, right? That in order to stay relevant within the clica, or at least maintain, right, without getting politicked on, they have to blend in with that type of mentality. That tecato mentality that is always scamming, working our gente, and most of all, working its own workers, right, to stay ahead or to politic on the next Billy, because it's all what it's really about, right? Jealousy, envy, a Billy envy of what the next Billy have. Never that, or working together, working as what they are, right? Carnales. But anyways, allow me to make sense, right? Gangsters, for those that know, had a difficult way in the mob, right? You guys know he went took care of business on the streets, and in reality, when he was inside, he took care of business. He held his ground, even when you could say numerous abilities were hunting for his head. Just being sincere, right? Because we see the surface of they just had him step back, but the reality is another one in prison. I met Gangster, or at least cross words, right? In Corcoran in the dog cages. And he was already on, you know, you couldn't even talk to him. But again, he maintained, right? He went through them dirty politics, and he pushed through to the point where he became a Pili. The other Pilis that are on the yard, it's irrelevant, right, to the topic. And anyways, Gangster had this individual as a worker in the Mets side, right, or EOP as they call it, or what it is. And You hear everyone talk about he still considers himself a sureño. Yeah, because he's assigned to be over there by a gangster. Make that fatty over there. When you get out of there, don't even trip. I'll squash it. But you see, as a camarada, we're like always eager to, vámonos, let's do this. Basically, fulfill any request that is being asked of us when it comes to a señor. But, it's always, we gotta always do our homework, you know. Gangster has a history with politics that he pretty much don't really like to get into it, right? So that would be a way to be like, if I do this, is he really gonna back me up? But again, we don't do that questioning stuff, right? Anyways, within time, homeboy, there's rats everywhere in the system. I'm assuming when he was over there, he got dimes dropped on him and he got kicked out back to the main line, right? And when he got kicked out, the politics started. You see, Anders Yard, it's not like it used to be. Back in my days, if a Pili was in the prison in person, that was all him. First come, first serve type of thing. And nobody could encourage in his territory where he was at. Now, with the mesa system, is basically other Pilis are allowed to have someone of trust, right? A will place camarada to hold a seat and make them feria, even if there's Pilis present, and they're supposed to allow it. Okay, so why I say this is to get at midget. He's been doing his thing for the death row, faction, more so the Ayalas, right? He's been real strong with since they got out, getting seats for them and making feria for them. So it was requested, as everyone that really knows when it comes to the Ayala brothers, they're known, right, to have a lot of workers, a lot of people representing them, so he was on the yard doing his thing. Here's when the mistake started, right? As a camarada, we're really nobody. Even if we're representing a Pili, we lose sight of that. For example, at one point, midget, yeah, he was doing mostly everything for, I'm just gonna say Ayala's, right? And at the same time, though, he was giving Gangster and others a small kickdown, which in reality, when I heard of it, it's nothing really, right? It was more like a respect thing. And as a campolero, it's what you got to do. You know, dirty politics is R&B, and let's just keep it a buck. As sureño, you're going to come out losing regardless, always. But he always used to mention it to Ronnie, right? And Ronnie didn't like it after a while. It was like having them in his pocket, right? Again, that jealousy, right? They don't like each other, point blank. So he said to stop that. It's like he was there and they weren't going to be in his pocket. You're his soldado, right? You're representing him, so he had to stop it, you know? And Gangster didn't like it. Gangster didn't like it because he felt the respect wasn't there no more, right? At least, how's a camarada gonna do this to a Pili, right? So he started working on a plot. And this is how politics work. You see, you gotta be always aware as a camarada when an individual's doing something or telling you to do something to his intentions of what he's doing with the other hand behind his back. Most of the time, I've been there, they go over our head because we're just in that stage of let's boogie, right? Let's do what we gotta do and get it done, period. But Gangster basically started getting in the vato that already, he was in the EOP program. To me, he had to have something to be there, right? And if not, there is camaradas or homies that to pass their time, they straight pop them pills, right? And they eventually wear on them, right? And started telling them, I've been trying to clear your being over there, but you're gonna have problems. So you may have to do a pegada, kind of put an insurance in blood, if you guys get it. And you know, he considered himself a sureño. He said, Simón, vámonos. And it basically paid out like, look, there's been a personal issue behind that's little man and the vato, right? They're gonna go at it. When you see you got an entry, start whacking little man. The goal was to take little man's win, right? You guys get that sending a message without speaking type of thing, right? So it happened to the dot, right? Me personally, whenever something had to be taken care of amongst myself and another camarada, there was no need for panchos, right? We do it because we're soldados. So I'll get my fierro, you get your fierro. Just go in the cell, have a camarada guy take care of the door. We go in, we take care of business, point blank. You know, we come out the cell. There's no need for that extras, right, on the yard. But unfortunately, a lot of vatos feel more comfortable on the yard, right? Mainly because if you give in, you can take off, type of thing, right? To me, it's you're gonna boogie buck up till the wheels fall off, right? But anyways, is what happened, and I guess the two homies went down, and dude jumped up and started whacking little man, and there comes the hand behind the back, type of thing, right? You see how it's one event, but it's really looked into to the point that it's thought out. It's basically this issue shouldn't have happened. I'll deal with the bam right after it by this, and then I got to take care of this to shadow it from other pilis. So he already said camaradas that if anybody jumped in, they would go in and take care of business, right? So when dude jumped in, started whacking little man, basically the camaradas knew and they jumped up and went in and took care of the vato. I mean, I'm sure, or I'm not gonna put that on Gangster, right? That he told him, hey, deal with it to the point that homeboy stops breathing, right? I believe gangsters wanted to have dude removed and lock it up so they couldn't reach out to him to speak to him, right? But it went overboard to the point where homeboy lost his life. But it worked into gangster's hand, right? Why did the dude jump up? he only knows. He's kind of playing the I don't know what you're talking about type of thing, right? So that worked into play. But here's the other thing that worked into play. Little man getting removed out the yard. Ronnie and Hector Ayala losing their seat on the yard. So now it goes back to everybody that sat on the yard is for the Billies that are present on the yard. You see how politics are taught out inside and at all times is met for camaradas to get used and abused. Because let's not talk about the incident, right? Here's a good camarada doing things right for a Pili. You have another Pili that ain't okay with it. So he starts plotting to use another vato that could basically brainwash him to remove you of the yard for no reason besides he ain't okay with you being on the yard, period, for another Pili. But it's that quick. A personal issue that is dealt with how it's supposed to be dealt. Two high placed camaradas have an issue that can't be resolved. You're entitled to go make it personal, go pick up your fierro, have the homie pick up the fierro. You guys handle business, right? As soldados. But you see the plot behind the plot and the plot behind the plot. And at all times is so it circles back around to get what he wants and to escape without having it ricochet towards him. Again, it's a trip how time makes an individual go from struggles to being the one causing the struggles on our gente. Because one lost his life. Imagine those that were involved, you know, in taking his fool's life. If one had a date, not there no more, right? If some had bored, it ain't happening no more, right? So at all time is, well, I'll just say our gente doing what we're supposed to do as sureños, getting hurt. But that's what politics about inside. It happens all the time to that extent. So I'll just tell those that haven't been there, right? It's how prison really works. It ain't about what you gonna do for the causa. It ain't about, doing our gente with respect, with having them push through. No. It's about you taking care of the feelings of a tecato. That end goal is to get as much feria, as much dope, to put up their vena, and at the same time, if there's an angle that could be used with you against him for his doings, you're gonna get dealt with. It's that simple. But anyways, everyone, I just thought it was an opportunity to touch in on how politics really play out. You see all these murders happening, and I'll be honest, you guys know I don't touch on current stuff. I'm even touching on this because I know the repercussions that already hit that incident, right? Again, who from who, what, where, it don't matter. But do know everything's out there already, and it's sad. It's sad because we see this incidents play in and out. And people just report on the vatos that do it, the vatos that get dealt with, but there ain't one person really talking about the aftermath that happened to those that have to do it. So again, if you love your freedom, yourself, family, I know that loving your neighborhood is part of what we get told, right? Go in, put the neighborhood in the right ears. Please tell me what's the right ears. The right ears are your homies you grew up with. Stay true to yourself and loyal to loved ones. Great day, everyone.